In the heart of the Galactic Council, a meeting was in full swing. The Grand Chamber buzzed with tension as council members gathered around a large table. Screens flashed with reports from across the galaxy. Fear hung thick in the air. News had reached them that humans on Earth were working on a new weapon, one that could change everything. Elder Zarnok, a tall and wise figure with shimmering blue skin, stood up. His voice boomed through the room. "We must discuss this urgent matter. Our spies report that humans are building something powerful, something that could destroy entire planets." Gasps echoed among the council members. A younger member, Councillor Phala, looked worried. But why would humans create such a weapon? They have always seemed weak and harmless. Zarnok shook his head. "Do not let their appearance fool you. Humans are unpredictable. They have surprised us before. We cannot ignore this threat." Councillor Joran, known for his fiery temper, slammed his fist on the table. "We must act now! If they have a weapon, they could attack us. We should send a fleet to Earth and destroy it before it's too late." "But what if they are not our enemy?" Phala argued. "What if they are only defending themselves? We should try to communicate first. Diplomacy is key." The room erupted into heated debates. Some council members shouted, while others tried to calm them down. Zarnok raised his hand, calling for silence. "We need to gather more information. Let us send a small scout team to observe Earth. We must understand what they are doing." As the council debated their next move, on Earth, a different kind of meeting was taking place. Scientists and military leaders gathered in a high-tech laboratory. Bright screens displayed blueprints and data about the new weapon. Dr. Elena Richards, the lead scientist, looked at her team with determination. "Listen up, everyone," she said. "We are not building this weapon to attack anyone. It is meant for defense. The universe is a dangerous place. We must protect ourselves." Her team nodded, but some looked worried. "What if the aliens see it differently?" one scientist asked. "What if they think we are a threat?" Dr. Richards sighed. "We have to make them understand. I will contact the Galactic Council and explain our intentions. We cannot let fear control our actions." Back in the council chamber, news of Dr. Richards' message reached the council. Zarnok frowned as he read the report. "They claim they are only defending themselves, but can we trust them? We must decide quickly," Joran sneered. "Trust them? They are humans! They do not understand the dangers of power. We must show strength. It is the only language they know." Phala's eyes narrowed. "If we attack, we risk war. We should find a way to communicate first. What if this weapon is not as dangerous as we think?" The debate raged on, but time was running out. Zarnok felt a heavy weight on his shoulders. The decision they made could change everything. He knew that humans were capable of great things, both good and bad. The council had to choose wisely. Suddenly, a message arrived from the scout team. "We are approaching Earth. We will gather intelligence and report back soon." Zarnok took a deep breath. "This is our chance to learn more about humans. We must tread carefully." As the scouts neared Earth, the council members waited anxiously. The fate of their galaxy depended on their next move. They could either provoke the humans and face the consequences or seek understanding and possibly forge a new alliance. The room fell silent as everyone looked at Zarnok. He knew that whatever happened next would change the course of history. The dangers of provoking humans were real, and the council needed to be ready for what lay ahead. The Galactic Council chamber was filled with tension. The large round table glowed with light as members from various planets gathered. Councillor Zarnok, the leader, sat at the head of the table, his blue skin shimmering under the bright lights. His eyes scanned the faces of his fellow councillors. They all looked worried. "Today we face a serious problem," Zarnok began. "Reports from our scouts indicate that humans on Earth are working on a dangerous weapon. We must decide how to respond." Councillor Joran, a stocky alien with sharp features, jumped to his feet. "We cannot let this continue. We must send a fleet to Earth and destroy their weapon before they use it against us." "But that could lead to war," said Councillor Phala, a slender figure with bright green skin. "We should try to communicate first. We need to understand their intentions." The councillors began to argue, their voices rising. Joran's anger grew as he pointed his finger at Phala. "You want to talk to them? They might use this chance to attack us. They are humans after all. We must show strength." Phala stood her ground. "And if we attack without knowing the truth, we risk losing everything. We do not know how powerful they really are. What if they only want peace?" Zarnok raised his hand, trying to restore order. "We cannot act out of fear. We need facts. Our scout team will report back soon. Until then, we must remain calm. The council fell silent, but the tension remained. Members exchanged worried glances. Zarnok knew they needed to think clearly, but fear clouded their judgment. They were afraid of the unknown. As the counselors waited, Zarnok decided to share his thoughts. I have met humans before. They are complex beings. They can be kind and creative, but they can also be fierce when threatened. We must approach them carefully. Joran scoffed. You cannot trust them. They are unpredictable. We have seen how they react when they feel cornered. They might surprise us in a bad way. Phala nodded slowly. But that is why we should not provoke them. We must find a way to connect. Maybe there is a chance for peace. Just then, a counselor from a distant planet spoke up. I suggest we gather more information before making a decision. We need to understand their culture, their way of thinking. Only then can we choose the right path. Zarnok agreed. Yes, we must learn more about humans. Their history shows that they can unite when faced with a common enemy. We need to know if they see us as a threat. The council continued to discuss their options. Some members suggested sending diplomats to Earth, while others wanted to prepare for war. The room buzzed with different ideas, each counselor hoping to convince the others. Suddenly, the door to the chamber opened, and a messenger rushed in. Counselors, the scout team has returned. They have important news about the humans. Everyone turned to the messenger, eager to hear what they had learned. Zarnok nodded. Please share what you have discovered. The messenger took a deep breath. The humans are indeed working on a weapon, but it is not finished. They are testing it for defense. They do not want to attack us, but want to protect their planet. Joran's expression shifted from anger to doubt. Are you sure? How can we trust their intentions? Phala leaned forward, hopeful. Maybe this is the chance we need! If they are building this weapon for protection, we can reach out and open a dialogue. We can help them understand that we do not wish to harm them. The council was silent for a moment, considering the new information. Zarnok knew that this was a pivotal moment. They could either choose war or take a step towards understanding. He spoke again, his voice steady. We must take this chance. Let us send a message to the humans. Let them know we want to talk. Peace is the best path forward. The counselors nodded in agreement, and for the first time that day, a glimmer of hope appeared in the chamber. The council was ready to choose understanding over conflict, and they would take the first step towards a new future. On Earth, in a bustling city filled with noise and activity, Dr. Elena Richards stood before her team of scientists. They were gathered in a large laboratory, surrounded by screens displaying complex data and blueprints. The atmosphere was tense, but there was also a sense of excitement. They were on the brink of something important. Everyone, listen up, Dr. Richards said, her voice firm yet encouraging. We are not building this weapon to attack anyone. Our goal is to protect our planet. We need to be ready for any threats that might come our way. Her team of scientists nodded, but some still looked worried. One young scientist named Alex raised his hand. What if the aliens think we are a danger to them? They have powerful technology. What if they decide to attack first? Dr. Richards sighed. I understand your concerns, Alex, but we must trust our judgment. We are working for our safety, not for aggression. We need to communicate our intentions clearly. Just then, a tall man in a military uniform walked in. Colonel Harris was the head of the military team working with the scientists. He looked serious as he approached Dr. Richards. Doctor, we need to talk about our response to the Galactic Council. They are watching us closely. Dr. Richards nodded. I know. We need to send them a message explaining our work. It's crucial that they understand we are not their enemy. Harris shook his head. But will they believe us? They might see us as a threat and decide to attack first. We cannot let that happen. The discussion continued, and the team debated how to handle the situation. As they spoke, the large screens in the lab displayed images of their weapon, a sleek, advanced device designed to defend Earth. It could shoot powerful energy blasts and create shields to protect cities from attacks. Look at this, Dr. Richards said, pointing to the screen. This weapon is designed for defense. We need to show the Council that we have no desire to provoke them. The team worked late into the night, drafting messages to the Galactic Council. They wanted to assure the aliens that humans were not their enemies. However, they also prepared for the worst. They practiced using the weapon and made sure it was ready for action. Meanwhile, in the Galactic Council chamber, news from Earth was coming in. The counselors listened carefully as the messenger relayed the latest updates. The information was mixed. Some saw the humans as a threat, while others felt there was hope for peace. "Look at these reports," Counselor Phala said, her green skin glowing with enthusiasm. "The humans are not showing aggression. They are trying to defend themselves just as we would." But Joran, still skeptical, crossed his arms. "They are unpredictable. We cannot let our guard down. They might use this weapon against us." Back on Earth, Dr. Richards was preparing to send the message to the Council. She gathered her team once more. "This is our chance to explain ourselves. We need to be clear and honest. We cannot let fear take control." As the team sent the message, the atmosphere in the lab shifted. Hope mingled with anxiety. They knew that this moment could change everything. They were reaching out to beings from another world, and their fate hung in the balance. Days passed, and the scientists anxiously awaited a response from the Galactic Council. Each hour felt like an eternity. They watched the screens, hoping for any sign of communication. Dr. Richards encouraged her team, reminding them that they had done everything they could to assure the Council of their intentions. Finally, the moment they had been waiting for arrived. The large screen in the lab lit up with a message from the Council. Dr. Richards felt her heart race as she called her team together. "This is it. Let's see what they have to say." The screen displayed a holographic image of Counselor Zarnock. He looked serious but not unfriendly. "We have received your message. The Council wishes to discuss this matter further. We are willing to listen." Dr. Richards breathed a sigh of relief. This was the opportunity they had hoped for. "They want to talk," she announced to her team, excitement filling the room. As they prepared for the upcoming discussion, Dr. Richards felt a sense of hope. This was their chance to show the Galactic Council that humans were more than they seemed. They were not just a threat. They were capable of understanding and peace. The atmosphere in the Galactic Council chamber was thick with tension. After receiving the humans' message, counselors gathered once more, eager to discuss their next steps. Counselor Zarnock, sitting at the head of the table, could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on him. "Today we must decide how to respond to the humans," Zarnock said, looking at each counselor in turn. "Their message shows they want to communicate, but we must also be cautious." Counselor Joran leaned forward, his sharp features tense. "They may want to talk, but we cannot ignore the fact that they are building weapons. This could be a trick to gain our trust before they strike." Counselor Phala, always the voice of reason, raised her hand. "We cannot assume the worst. If we show strength without understanding, we might provoke them into a fight. We must be careful how we act." Joran shook his head. "Careful? They have already shown their hand by developing a weapon. What if they use it against us? We need to send a strong message that we will not tolerate threats." Zarnock took a deep breath, sensing the urgency in the room. "I propose we send a delegation to Earth. We should meet with the humans face to face. This will allow us to gauge their true intentions." Several counselors nodded, though some looked skeptical. "What if they ambush us?" Joran warned. "It is too risky." But Phala spoke up again. "If we do nothing, we risk losing our chance for peace. Meeting them directly could help build trust. We must take this step." After much debate, the council finally agreed. They would send a small delegation to Earth to meet with Dr. Richards and her team. The decision sparked a mix of hope and fear among the counselors. They prepared their ships for the journey, knowing that every moment counted. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Dr. Richards was busy preparing for the meeting with the Galactic Council. The news had spread quickly, and everyone in her lab was buzzing with excitement and anxiety. Colonel Harris stood beside her, looking serious. "Doctor, we need to be ready for anything," he said. "What if they come to intimidate us? We must show that we are not afraid." Dr. Richards nodded. "I understand, Colonel. But our goal is to show them that we want peace. We need to be calm and collected." As the day of the meeting arrived, Dr. Richards gathered her team. They worked tirelessly to prepare their presentation, hoping to convey their intentions clearly. They wanted to show the counselors that humans were capable of understanding and cooperation. When the moment finally came, Dr. Richards stood in front of the large meeting room, feeling a mix of excitement and fear. The Galactic Council's representatives arrived on a sleek, shining ship. As it landed, everyone stared in awe. The ship was unlike anything they had ever seen, its design reflecting the advanced technology of the galaxy. Zarnock stepped out first, flanked by several other counselors. Dr. Richards took a deep breath and greeted them. "Welcome to Earth. We appreciate your willingness to meet with us." Zarnok nodded, his blue skin glowing softly. "Thank you for having us. We have come to understand your intentions. The Council is concerned about the weapon you are developing." Dr. Richards smiled, ready to explain. "We are building this weapon for protection, not aggression. Our goal is to defend our planet from any potential threats. We wish to assure you that we do not want to provoke anyone." But before she could continue, Joran interjected, his voice sharp. "How can we believe you? You are humans. You are known for unpredictability. How do we know you won't use this weapon against us?" Dr. Richards felt a chill run down her spine. "We understand your concerns, but we are not your enemies. We want to work together to find a way to coexist peacefully." As the discussion continued, it became clear that trust would not come easily. Tension filled the room as both sides expressed their fears and doubts. The counselors were wary, and Dr. Richards sensed their hesitation. Suddenly, a loud alarm blared throughout the meeting room. The lights flashed red, and everyone turned in alarm. "What is happening?" Zarnok demanded. Colonel Harris rushed into the room, looking frantic. "We have detected an unknown ship approaching Earth. It's not from our planet." The room fell silent as everyone processed the news. The threat was real, and it came from somewhere unknown. Tension rose again, and fear spread like wildfire. "See?" Joran sneered, pointing at Dr. Richards. "This is why we cannot trust them. They have brought danger to our doorstep." Dr. Richards stood firm. "No! We cannot let fear control us. We need to work together to face this threat." In that moment, both sides realized the truth. The only way to survive was to unite against a common enemy. The atmosphere in the room shifted as they prepared to act together, ready to face whatever danger lay ahead. The alarm echoed through the meeting room, filling the air with panic. Dr. Elena Richards could see the concern etched on the faces of the Galactic Council members. Colonel Harris rushed to the control panel, fingers flying over the buttons as he attempted to gather information about the approaching ship. "Colonel, what do we know?" Dr. Richards asked, her heart racing. "It's large, and it's coming in fast," Harris replied, his voice tense. "It's not broadcasting any identification signals. We can't tell if it's hostile or not." Zarnok, the leader of the Galactic Council, looked gravely at Dr. Richards. "If this ship is a threat, we must be prepared to defend ourselves." Dr. Richards took a deep breath, trying to remain calm. "We must focus on gathering more information. We can't act out of fear. Let's see if we can establish communication." As they worked frantically, Joran's voice cut through the chaos. "We should take a defensive stance. We cannot trust the humans. They might use this situation to their advantage." Dr. Richards shot him an angry look. "This is not the time for blame. We need to work together to handle this situation. If we let fear take over, we might provoke an attack." Harris nodded, determination in his eyes. "Dr. Richards is right. We need to find out who is approaching us. Let's send out a communication signal." The room held its breath as Colonel Harris activated the communication system. "This is Colonel Harris of Earth. We are aware of your approach. Please identify yourselves and state your intentions." The group waited, tension thick in the air. Seconds felt like hours. Finally, a voice crackled through the speakers, filled with static. "This is the Vortex Empire. We demand immediate surrender. Prepare to be boarded." Shock rippled through the room. The Vortex Empire was notorious for its brutal conquests, and their reputation preceded them. Fear gripped the hearts of everyone present. Zarnok stood tall, his blue skin shimmering with intensity. "We cannot surrender! We must show strength!" Dr. Richards shook her head, her thoughts racing. "Surrendering will only encourage them. We must fight back, but we need to do it wisely." Suddenly, a loud bang echoed outside the building, shaking the walls. Everyone jumped, startled. Colonel Harris looked at the security feeds and saw the Vortex ship descending. "They're launching attack drones. We need to act now." Phala, a counselor, stood up, her voice steady. "We have to combine our technology. Humans, you must use your defenses, and we will use ours. Together, we can create a stronger front." With quick agreement, Dr. Richards and Harris rushed to their advanced weapon system. The Galactic Council worked alongside them, pooling their technology. Everyone was determined to protect their worlds. As they prepared, Dr. Richards glanced at Zarnok. "We can do this, but we need to trust each other. This is our chance to prove that we are stronger together." Moments later, the first wave of Vortex drones appeared on their screens. They were sleek and menacing, armed with powerful energy weapons. Panic surged through the room as they closed in. Now, Colonel Harris shouted, pushing the button to activate the Earth's defense system. Bright beams of energy shot from the weapons, targeting the drones. Simultaneously, the Galactic Council unleashed their own technology. A series of stunning blue blasts erupted from their ships, creating a dazzling display of power. The drones swerved and spun, caught off guard by the combined attack. But the Vorx Empire was relentless. They regrouped and launched a counterattack. Explosions rocked the building, shaking the foundation. Dust filled the air and alarms blared. Dr. Richards struggled to keep her focus amidst the chaos. "Keep firing!" she urged her team. "We can't let them break through!" The battle raged on, each side exchanging blows. For a moment, it felt as if they might be overwhelmed. But then the tides turned. The humans and counselors began to work in perfect sync, combining their technology in ways they had never imagined. Just as they gained the upper hand, a Vorx ship broke through the defenses, landing on the ground nearby. Out stepped armed soldiers, ready to invade. "Everyone prepare for hand-to-hand combat," Colonel Harris commanded. "We will defend our home." As the soldiers charged forward, the combined forces of humans and counselors stood united. With their backs against the wall, they fought with everything they had. The battle was fierce, but in that moment of chaos, something incredible happened. The humans and counselors found strength in one another. They fought side by side, using their knowledge of each other's strengths to overcome the Vorx soldiers. After what felt like hours of intense fighting, the last of the Vorx soldiers fell, and silence filled the air. Everyone stood panting, covered in dust and sweat. They had defended their home together. Dr. Richards looked around at her team and the counselors. "We did it! Together we have shown the Vorx Empire that we are not to be trifled with." Zarnok nodded, a proud smile spreading across his face. "This battle has proven one thing. When humans and aliens unite, we are an unstoppable force." As they surveyed the damage, Dr. Richards realized that today had changed everything. They had faced a common enemy and emerged victorious. Trust had been built through fire, and a new alliance was born.